We're here today in Baltimore, less than a week after the House historic passage of the Postal Reform Act of 2022. That bill, of which I'm an author and an original co-sponsor, will put the Postal Service on a path of financial solvency, unshackling the Postal Service from unfair statutory burdens that have kept it mired in unnecessary payments for over a decade. The bill takes a pragmatic approach, planting the Postal Service on firm financial ground and readying it for the future. Postal Service is invaluable to this nation. Throughout the pandemic, our Postal Service workforce delivered prescription medications, paychecks, foodstuffs, stimulus checks, holiday and birthday gifts, rapid COVID tests from the Biden administration, and more to homes and businesses across the nation. June 2020, Harris poll found that the Postal Service ranked as the single most essential company to Americans during the pandemic. Postal Service employs 630,000 individuals spread throughout every single congressional district in the country. According to Pew Research, 91% of Americans have a favorable view of the Postal Service, making it the most popular federal agency. In fact, I'd argue making it the most popular thing on the planet. A recent Inspector General report, however, found that the Postal Service has not always been meeting the needs of its customers. In fact, the Postal Service Office of Inspector General found that the Postal Service only met service performance targets for 3 of 33 products in fiscal year 2020. Why are service performance targets important? Well, the Inspector General said that missing delivery goals could result in late fees and even a drop in credit ratings for consumers, as well as a disruption in cash flow for businesses. I know one of our witnesses today that Mr. Mafumi referred us to, Mr. Metzger, experienced these very late fees and incurred costs because of mail delays. The Office of Inspector General added that late deliveries may drive mailers away from using the Postal Service, saying that once a customer moves their bill payment online, they may be unlikely to go back to using the mail. Simply put, missing service performance targets hurts those who rely on the Postal Service and ultimately can diminish the hard-earned standing of this revered institution. Despite the importance of meeting service performance targets, between October 2020 and January 2021, on-time delivery rates for first-class mail plummeted from 84% to 61%. Historically, the Postal Service, by way of comparison, achieves rates of between 90 and 93%, not 61%. Fortunately, nationwide service performance has improved since, almost hitting those historically achieved rates. We should certainly recognize that progress, identifying the best practices that galvanized it so the Postal Service can continue to serve the public. But it should also be noted, 2 key changes implemented by the Postal Service in the last fiscal year made this data rosier than reality. First, though the Postal Service exceeded its fiscal year 2021 service performance target for first-class mail, that target was significantly reduced from the prior year. Fiscal year 2020, in particular, the Postal Service reduced its fiscal year 2021 target for on-time delivery rates for first-class mail by more than 11%. So it reduced the target and then met it. That's not progress. In addition, the Postal Service added an extra day or two to some first-class mail delivery standards, giving the Postal Service extra time to deliver the mail and still counted as on time, even though, from the customer's point of view, it's 2 or 3 days later than it used to be. So some of the improvements we see are likely attributable to new decreased service standards and not to actual improvements in the speed of mail delivery. On this day after the Super Bowl, you might liken this to moving the goalposts so close that the kicker couldn't possibly miss the extra point. Last October, we held a hearing in Chicago to investigate its deteriorating mail delivery performance. But as we said in that hearing, Chicago was not the worst in the nation. That was Baltimore. We're here in Baltimore today because this area was and remains among the hardest hit by substandard delivery. Baltimore's mail delivery has consistently underperformed the rest of the nation. We can put up the chart. If you look at that screen, you will more clearly see why we are in Baltimore today. The figure shows quarter by quarter on-time delivery rates for every postal district across the nation. The top row is for the first-class mail with a 2-day service standard, and the bottom row is for first-class mail with a 3 to 5 day service standard. Baltimore is in red, and the nationwide average is indicated by the dashed black line. We need to know why, in the second quarter of 2021, Baltimore's on-time delivery rates dropped to 62% for 2-day mail and another 25% or to 25% for 3 to 5 day mail. That's around 1 in 3 pieces of mail arriving late for 2-day mail and 75%, 3 out of 4, that arrive late for 3 to 5 day mail. I know my Maryland colleagues understandably find that to be unacceptable. We should note that Baltimore's performance alongside the rest of the nation has improved since last year's trough. But as the graph shows, Baltimore has more often than not underperformed the nationwide average since fiscal year 2012. We're talking about a decade's performance. We're in Baltimore today to try to understand the root causes of that historic underperformance. By working together to address issues we uncover, we can ensure that the Postal Service delivers mail to Baltimore residents consistently and on time. We expect and demand more from our Postal Service, but to do that, we need leadership to provide it with the resources and staffing it requires to meet customer needs. Instead, we have witnessed deteriorating service performance coupled with price hikes. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy has made consequential and damaging operational changes at the Postal Service that affect postal delivery nationwide. And he has repeatedly done so without conducting the data analyses or customer engagements required to ensure that he's not causing further damage. I'm particularly concerned about the Postal Service's 10-year plan, which reduces service standards further and increases prices. That's a novel business model. Lower standards and charge more for them. The Postal Regulatory Commission's advisory opinion of Mr. DeJoy's proposal to reduce delivery standards stated it is not clear that the trade-off between financial viability and maintaining high-quality service standards is reasonable. According to the Postal Service Office of Inspector General, 9 of Baltimore's busiest post offices had difficulty even grasping the scope of their own problems, if we can put that chart. If you look at the screen again, you'll see a table from a recent Inspector General report showing that 9 Baltimore area post offices undercounted delayed mail in their facilities by 771,640 pieces, a 79% undercount. So as bad as the news has been, it's 79% understating it. Data management did not only pose an issue in Baltimore's delivery units, but also in its processing and distribution center, which processes mail pieces and distributes them to local post offices. Another related Inspector General report notes that employees were not performing container load scans and depart scans consistently before dispatching mail to the next facility. Without accurate and complete data, management cannot make informed operational decisions, and so it's left guessing the steps they need to take to improve mail delivery for postal customers. The Inspector General also found that key features of the processing and distribution center slowed down employees, leading to increased delays in mail delivery. For example, the facility's tray management system, which transports trays of letters within the facility and significantly reduces transport time, has been inoperable since March of 2019, 3 years. According to the OIG report, the absence of those tray management systems has added 2 hours per day to each operation to move the mail. That's 2 hours each day for 3 years. The tray management system was supposed to be replaced last month. I hope we can get an update today. In short, mismanagement of Baltimore postal facilities has unnecessarily contributed to delays in mail delivery relative to the rest of the nation. Today, we have witnesses who can help us diagnose those problems. And we have witnesses who need to be part of designing and implementing solutions to those problems. We need to hold the Postal Service leadership to account. We need to see written plans that are responsive to the analysis and recommendations of the Postal Service Inspector General. And we need to strive to reach delivery rates that meet the demands of the Postal Service customers, reviving the Postal Service instead of driving it into decline, especially during a pandemic. We're going to work together as colleagues to solve these problems, hopefully to change the governance of the Postal Service to ensure we have a Board of Governors and a Postmaster General who understand the essential function of the Postal Service during a pandemic and who are dedicated to the Postal Service mission to deliver mail and packages on a timely and efficient basis to every American household and every American business every day. Thank you.